Word up nerds, welcome back to the channel. This is the Falcon and the Winter Soldier finale episode breakdown and review. I'm going to be talking about all the details of things that happened in the episode, of all episodes of Falcon and the Winter Soldier, and speculating for future MCU projects. So take this as your spoiler warning. You still here? Cool. Let's do this.
You better be ready. Glorious.
Right, yeah, so I've a few mixed feelings on this one. There's some things that I really enjoyed about this episode. There's some things I thought we could have really done without. But let's get into it. So the episode starts off pretty much where we left off. We're at the GRC. Carly and the Flag Smashers, they're having a bit of a conversation about, they've got to go through with it. And Carly starts mentioning how, the movement is ready. It doesn't matter if they die. We see a bit of a dissension in the ranks here with the other Flag Smashers. Don't seem as convinced as she is. Basically waiting for Sam to arrive to then evacuate all the officials from the GRC and sort of hijack their escape routes. So as you see Sam flying in, she makes the call. One of the Flag Smashers, the ones inside, they put their mask on, smoke grenades come out. Very Oscorp looking smoke grenades, I must admit. We know Osborn is hopefully coming to the MCU. Is he already here? And this is where we see the Shield come flying in through the window, followed in by Sam. The Shield takes out the Flag Smasher. Sam lands all heroically. So this is the first look we get at his new Wakandan made suit. Initially, I don't know, I thought it looked a bit cheap to start with. I was expecting more of a latex looking sort of weave, more like Black Panther. But no, this one, it looks kind of cotton. It's probably plastic trim, but it's supposed to be vibranium. I don't know, initially I just thought it looked a bit cheap, to be honest. When he's, close-ups when he's walking around. Does not too bad in the action sequences, especially when he's flying about. I thought it looked a bit cheap. But it is very comic accurate, so, I got that right. Awesome. So yeah, now we see Batroc come in and engage with Sam. They're in a bit of a scuffle. In the meantime, we see Bucky, and he actually gets approached by a lady with a phone, and it's Carly on the phone. But yeah, Carly's basically, she's trying to talk to Bucky and, explain that this is a big issue. It's much bigger than herself. She asked him, has he ever fought for anything bigger? And he explains that, his whole life he's been fighting for something bigger than himself. World War II, the Thanos invasion. Bucky spent his whole life fighting for something bigger than himself. So he says, he's failed twice. This isn't going to end well for her. But she basically thanks him for enabling them to get away from the building. I mean, it was Bucky's one job to stop them leaving, but he's just been talking on the phone. So he does fall for the distraction, but I do like the way that he's taking a cue from Sam and he's actually talking to Carly. He's trying to reach her and not actually trying to talk her down instead of just chasing and engaging. So yeah, like I say, we're cutting backwards and forwards between Bucky and the fight with Sam. If you notice, GSP's throwing a lot of high kicks, a lot of kick work here. This is because Batroc's favoured martial art is the French savate, which is a very high kick based martial art. So I like to see that they have incorporated that into his fighting style. But yeah, Sam eventually gets out of there. He just abandons the fight, throws the shield out the window, jumps out the window, chases the shield. Sharon's followed some of the officials down into the garage. They're getting loaded into a van. After they've left, she decides to take out the Flag Smasher. Who, one of the guards was a Flag Smasher. She decides to take him out using a what we later find out was a mercury grenade, amongst other things. But this is sick. It just melts this guy's face off. It well reminds me of RoboCop. But yeah, when we see him in the van, very lethal. So some of the officials got taken downstairs into the garage, like I say, loaded into a van, but some of them have been taken up into the roof, and Sharon informs Sam, get to the chopper! Which is when he leaves the fight with GSP and chases the chopper! So we're cutting back and forward. Sam's chasing the chopper! Carly and the Flag Smashers are having a discussion. And again, she mentions, we'll just kill the hostages if we need to. Doesn't matter if I die again. So second time she's mentioned that. Again, the other Flag Smashers don't seem as convinced, and they're very slow to return the one people slogan to her. But we're coming back to Sam. A police helicopter is engaged, so the pilot of the Flag Smasher sort of takes out the helicopter, forcing Sam to go and rescue those pilots. They like to cause diversions, these Flag Smashers, by putting people in danger, something you may want to remember later on. But yeah, Sam, he turns around, he goes and saves the guys. He uses Red Wing very effectively in this battle. Red Wing tethers one of the pilots out, and Sam grabs the other one. And Sam lands on a bridge with the other pilot, but the helicopter that they've just abandoned is about to crash onto them. And this is where we see his wings kind of interlock over his head with the shield and forming a really nice cocoon which protects him and the pilot from the helicopter. And this is one of the moments I was like, yeah, that's pretty cool, slick. Yeah, so we cut back to Carly's. They've actually hijacked the truck with these officials in. They've locked them in using these very high-tech looking locks that seem to be near indestructible. But this is where Bucky engages with the Flag Smashers. He has having a bit of a tussle with one of these. So as Bucky's engaged with one of these, they decide to set the truck on fire as a diversion. So again, hoping that Bucky will stop to help the people and allow them to escape. So again, putting innocent people in danger. But as they're making their getaway, this is where we hear
Morgan Thaw! Let's finish this.
So enter John Walker with his uniform, his cosplay shield, which he made
with a box of scraps!
He's like, come on, let's finish this. She basically says that she's sorry about hurting his friend. She doesn't want to hurt anyone who wasn't important. So this doesn't sit well. He's like, Hoskins isn't important. She just explains that she wants the people in the truck. She wants these decision makers. But John's having none of that. He throws the shield at her, but Carly just kicks it out of the air like it's nothing, because it is just cosplay. So as this is going on, we see Bucky. He's trying to get the mechanism and open the truck that's on fire, but he's really struggling to get this mechanism off with his vibranium arm. So we can see how strong this thing is. As this is going on, John's being sort of handled and stomped on by 2 or 3 of the Flag Smashers, and as we see this, we can see he's kind of freaking out a bit. But he's behind his shield trying to protect himself, and inside the shield he sort of focuses on his Medal of Honor that he welded in there. Try and focus himself. I'm kind of disappointed in John Walker in this episode, to be honest. I mean, this guy's a highly trained military soldier. Quite frankly, he should have been able to handle these Flag Smashers. They're all super soldiers, so they don't have an advantage of him there. But he has had years of combat training and experience. So he should have just been able to take these guys down, really. But he's getting stomped on. Bucky enters the fray again, takes one of them out. They have a bit of a tussle. Bucky gets knocked off the top of the construction site that they all seem to be fighting on, and this is where we hear his famous Winter Soldier scream. We heard it in the first episode. I think we've seen it at various points in the MCU so far. But a nice little callback to there. As he falls off, he sticks the superhero landing with his vibranium arm, which is pretty slick. He looks up and the Flag Smasher is coming down, tries to break a concrete post over his head, but Bucky saves himself again with his vibranium arm. Okay, so when this is happening, we're now going to cut back to Sam. He's actually used Red Wing to scan all the hostages inside the chopper, and he realises that actually a trained helicopter pilot is one of the hostages. So he sends her a text. Obviously he's linked to her phone, tells her to put her earbuds in, so now he's communicating with her directly. Sam wants to make a move, take out the pilot, and then have this lady jump over and take the controls, but he can't quite get close to the chopper. And when he does make another move, the chopper pilot kind of takes him down. Sam falls into the river, loads of concrete or steel tubes fall on him, pipes fall on him, which just pisses him off pretty much. We see him come out, he's like, right, you've earned your ass kicking now. So again, he gives the lady a 5-second countdown. When, she gets to 1, we see Sam coming across the chopper, nice little shield throw, takes out the pilot, she jumps in there, manages to pull the chopper up just in time, obviously. So we cut back to Walker, and he's now actually seemed to finally get the upper hand on these Flag Smashers. And Carly, again, jumps into the truck, and she basically tries to drive it straight off the top of this construction site, but it does look like it's going to go over. So the Flag Smashers kind of trying to make a run for it. Obviously it doesn't go straight over the top. This gives John Walker the opportunity to earn himself a little bit of redemption. So he gives up chase on the Flag Smashers to go and save the hostages, which is what he does. Well, he tries his best anyway. He's just about got the truck back up, but then the Flag Smashers come back. They're all battering him. They take him out, so they all fall to the ground. So just as it looks like the truck's about to come after them, possibly land on top of them, and it just suddenly stops. As the camera pans round, we see the shield, and then Sam is somehow miraculously holding the weight of this big armoured truck. Remember, he's not a super soldier, But yeah, his jetpack may be able to take the weight of it, but surely that would just crush Sam. I don't know. But yeah, he manages to hold the truck for a bit. Mini thrusters come out and he manages to secure the truck back up on top of the thing. Cut to the crowd, woo! They're all cheering. You know, two black guys there. One of them was like, "Man, that's the Black Falcon." But he quickly gets corrected with like, "No, man, that's Captain America." Cringe. Obviously, Carly's devastated at this. She picks up the nearest metal pipe. She tries to kill John Walker, but again, Bucky just catches something in midair, saving John Walker. And then this is where we see the Shield just miraculously take out all 5 Flag Smashers in one shot. You know, Sam lands, you know, being all heroic and whatnot. This is where Batroc shoots a load of smoke grenades into the area, giving the Flag Smashers an opportunity to escape. So obviously the 3 boys give chase, using Sam's infrared goggles, easily able to track them for now. The Flag Smashers have split up, so John gives chase one way. Bucky goes with him, probably to make sure that John doesn't go psycho and kill them again. So that leaves Sam to chase Carly by himself, and the 2 boys to chase the remaining Flag Smashers. So we cut to Carly now, and she's creeping through the warehouse. We see everyone sort of creeping around, but Carly's hearing the whistles that she uses for the Flag Smashers. But she actually stumbles across Sharon Carter. I'm getting a nice little interesting scene here. Quickly learn that, you know, they know each other. They sort of drop the guns on each other. And Sharon's like, "Oh, you know, when you first came to Madripoor, you reminded me of a younger version of me. You know, I took you in and now you've just betrayed me." So I'm pretty sure you can see where this is headed. Yeah, I mean, Carly's like, "Oh, you only want us because the super soldiers. Without the super soldiers, how much power does the power broker have?" And this is where Batroc enters, like, "Oh, so you're the power broker." And he basically tries to blackmail Sharon with, you know, he wants 4 times the amount that she originally offered him, or he'll just tell everyone who the power broker is. And she just shoots him. She doesn't play with blackmail, so bing. Is that the end of GSP? I mean, we hear 2 shots. It looks like he gets a shot in the shoulder. He kind of spins round and, you know, gets shot in the shoulder, but I'm pretty sure it's insinuated he's dead. But the other shot was Carly shooting Sharon. Sam hears the shots. He goes rushing over. He sees Carly above Sharon, pointing the gun. And he tries talking her down. They engage. She's trying to fight him, constantly pounding on the shield, but Sam doesn't want to fight. He's using his flips and his spins and whatnot to get out of there, and he doesn't want to fight back. And she's getting angry and angry at this. Eventually, she gets the shield off him. She pulls a gun on him, so it looks like, you know, Sam's in a little bit of trouble. But Sharon does finally manage to get a shot off and kill Carly. While this is all going on, we see the other 2 Flag Smashers, and they've got the app. They're following the app. Looks like they're about to get saved, but they actually come across John Walker and Bucky, who are using the app to message them. And we're finally glad that they figured out that, hey, maybe we should download this app and get on it. John and Bucky and a load of armed police arrest the other Flag Smashers. We cut to outside the GRC building. We see Sam sort of carrying Carla's body. I do actually love the imagery here. It looks very much like an angel carrying someone, but he brings Carly's body back. Leaves Sharon with a gun wound wherever she was, but brings the dead body back. I don't know. I mean, there's no rush to get her in the hospital. It does look like she died, but you know, Sam brings the dead girl instead of the injured woman. I don't know. Does that make any sense? Yeah, Sam's being obviously asked a load of questions. I mean, you know, when did government make him America by all these reporters? But he goes straight over to the officials and asks them, you know, are you still going ahead with the plan to reset all the borders and relocate people? And he gets told that, yeah, you know, the terrorist only settles back a few hours. And Sam's like, man, you got to stop calling them terrorists. But, you know, they hurt innocent people to try and get a message out there. I'm pretty sure it is the definition of terrorism, Sam. Correct me if I'm wrong. Please leave a comment down below if you think I'm wrong. But yeah, I mean, no matter your cause, as soon as you start going around killing people, endangering people's lives just to get a message out there, I'm pretty sure that is terrorism. Whatever. But yeah, I mean, this is where the episode gets a little bit messy, probably. We turn into a lot of social messaging now. It's basically Sam giving a 7-minute speech about the rights and wrongs of people. So as Sam's talking to this one government official, toxic white government official, asks Sam, what about all these people who come back and find people living in their homes? And Sam's just like, But Sam's message is basically that now we have a common problem. Everyone in the world has a common problem that we should all join together and try to solve for the first time ever. And he says to toxic white government official that finally, after all the time of people begging just to be heard, now he knows what it's like to feel helpless, just like all these millions of other people that are out there every day. Toxic white government official says, you just don't understand how complicated it is. And Sam's like, well, of course I understand. I'm a black man carrying the stars and stripes. He knows that, every time he picks up the shield, there will be millions of people out there that hate him for doing it. But he's still there, and he still does it every day. As he's explaining this, we cut to Isaiah Bradley's house, and we see him kind of getting all emotional watching Sam say all this. Sam basically explains that the only power he has is the belief that we can do better. Everyone should be working together now, and we have a common cause, a common goal. But he does eventually get the message across that, it wasn't just Carly and this group of super soldiers. There were millions of people across the world who were willing to help them take down governments, and you've got to ask yourselves why. I think that message does actually finally get through. So as Sam leaves, he does actually give John Walker a bit of a nod, who it looks to me seems quite surprised to get it, but he gives him a bit of a nod back. I think Bucky's got the perfect response to pretty much this whole season, where he's like, sorry, I was texting, all I heard was black man and stars and stripes, which sums the show up pretty much. But he does give him, he calls him Cap, he's like, well done Cap, pats the shield. A nice show of respect from Bucky to Sam there. We cut to the flag smashers that were arrested earlier. They're being loaded into a van, and this is where we see one of the guards go all Hydra to these, and he whispers the one world, one people. So we think they're about to get away with it. But a couple of seconds later, just as the van starts moving, it explodes. Obviously, so everyone inside there has been deleted. And it turns out that it's actually Zemo's butler that we saw in episode 3 has actually blown up the van. This is where we actually cut to Zemo in the raft, hearing the news on the radio or the TV that he's got there, and he seems incredibly happy with that news. This is where we cut back to the courtroom where John Walker was actually getting his trial and being stripped of being Captain America. And in that courtroom we see John Walker's wife accompanied by Val that we saw in the last episode, the cameo, Valentina de la Fontaine, whatever her name is. She kind of insinuates to John Walker's wife that she may have been involved in setting up that whole blowing up the van with the flag smashers thing. Zemo seems very friend, almost like I planned it myself. She explains it saves a lot of paperwork for a lot of people, a lot of redacting. I think she was probably involved in that as well as Zemo. But they're waiting for John to come out, who eventually comes out in his new uniform, which is exactly the same as his old uniform, but it's black with the red stripes. So again, very comic accurate US agent, and this is where he finally gets the moniker of US agent. Val explains that things are going to get weird, and when they do, they're not going to need a Captain America, but they will need a US agent. John Walker, it just seems so over the moon to finally, be back. Yeah, I'm back, baby. Woo! We now have US agents in the MCU. So now we catch up with Bucky, and he's actually gone to visit his friend Yuri from the first episode. As you recall, he's got to have a very awkward conversation, but he does come clean about his son was murdered by the Winter Soldier. He was the Winter Soldier, but he didn't have a choice. And we see Yuri the next day getting on with his life. Bucky also drops off his book as a gift for his therapist and thanks her for all the help. And we see all the names crossed off in his list, so it looks like he's done the work, he's finished his list. So finally, Bucky should be able to start feeling good about himself now, feeling much better. So we got to Sam, who's once again got to see Isaiah Bradley, gives him a bit of a lecture, tells him he saw what he did last night, and says Sam is kind of special. He's no Malcolm X or Martin Luther, but he is special. And Sam's like, thank you, but no one's going to tell me that I can't fight for this country. We built this country, I've bled for this country, no one's going to tell me that I can't fight for it. and Bradley's like, shit, I almost believe that shit. This is kind of cool. Sam does go and take him and Elijah to the museum for Captain America, and this is where he leaves them to walk around and exhibit for Isaiah Bradley and all the black soldiers who fought in World War II. And this actually brings Isaiah Bradley to tears. This guy hopefully can finally come to peace and start to heal and get on with his life. So the last scene of the film is basically a cook-off at Sam's boat. We got all their family friends with Bucky, the sister, nephews, everyone's having such a great time. Woohoo, job done. So it fades to black, and then we see the credits come up, but instead of saying Falcon and the Winter Soldier, it now says Captain America and the Winter Soldier. So if there is going to be a season 2, it will be entitled Captain America and the Winter Soldier. But there already has been announced a new Captain America 4 film is in the works by the showrunner of this show. So it will be, I imagine, Sam and probably Bucky back in action on the big screen. Awesome. But as expected, we do get a post-credit scene on this one. We're back in the courtroom again with toxic white government official. And this time he's actually giving Sharon Carter the pardon that Bucky promised her. So, you know, he does seem to have a bit of pull in the end after all. It's explained how the Carter name's always been synonymous with service and dedication to the cause. And they basically offer her own job back, apologise for the wrongs that they did to her. And she seems over the moon with this, and as she walks out she's got a nice smirk on her face. And she's outside, she makes a phone call basically saying... She doesn't say that. She makes a phone call to someone that we don't know who it is. He's saying, you know, super soldiers may not be on the menu anymore, but we're about to have full access to government officials and technology, secret weapons, all that kind of jazz. So yeah, the Power Broker is back in business. So that's the end of the show, Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Let me know in the comments down below, how did you enjoy the show? Personally, I have some mixed feelings about it. I did enjoy it. I thought it was really slow at times. But overall, I think it was a good show. I'm a little bit disappointed in what we can actually expect from these M.C.U. shows on Disney+. If you remember way back when Kevin Feige first announced most of these, I'm pretty sure he said that, you know, these are going to tie in with the movies, so you kind of have to watch them to understand everything. But that's simply not the case. I mean, WandaVision, even though it was supposedly, you know, that's supposed to tie straight into Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness, I'm pretty sure that's a standalone season. I don't think anyone's going to miss out on anything from that. It just basically explains why Wanda's going to be looking all hot like she does when she turns up, and why she's going to be so powerful now. Again, I mean, at the end of Endgame, we expected Sam to be Captain America, so the fact that he's got a nice new suit, you know, I'm pretty sure everyone expected that anyway. At least we do get something from this show to tie into future projects. I think, like I say, there's been a lot of groundwork made for the Thunderbolts that's going to be coming up, Falcon and the Winter Soldier Season 2, but more importantly, the Captain America film announced. So yeah, I mean, I think this one did give us a little bit more going forward, but you know, from the 2 Marvel shows we've had so far, are they really subscription winners? I'm not so sure. I mean, yeah, and people like me will probably, they want to watch all the content they can, that's fine. To try and secure normies, to try and get subscriptions off them every month, I think they need to do a bit better. I think they need to up the game on this. I am glad we got quite a bit of action. It was a good 25 minutes of action at the start of this episode, but then, again, about 25 minutes of talking and social commentary at the end of this. I mean, let me know in the comments down below, how do you feel about all this social commentary, identity politics coming into all these comic book shows? You know, do we need it, really? I am going to take a win for the Sharon Carter reveal as the Power Broker, although that still kind of feels a little off to me. There's a lot of references to him being a he, and yeah, it just seemed like the obvious play. But she was on the phone to someone, so I do think she's got a partner, or she is possibly just the right hand woman of the Power Broker. The way the conversation played out, you know, it wasn't specifically, she never specifically said, you know, I am the Power Broker. It's kind of insinuated that she was, but she could just be the face of the Power Broker as far as Carly was concerned anyway. So yeah, I do definitely think there's someone else behind the shadows. Personally, some of those grenades that we were seeing in this show today screamed Norman Osborn at me. Green Goblin, that character I think is still owned by Sony, so that's a little bit of a grey area. Personally, I think Victor Von Doom would be a much better candidate. I think I'm pretty sure they own that character now, and we are going to see him surely with the Fantastic Four coming up. So yeah, I think he's my wish for the Power Broker, as it were. It'll probably end up being a new character, Curtis Jackson. That's who it was in the comics. Someone called Curtis Jackson. So I think this Sharon Carter being the Power Broker will probably tie in more with the upcoming shows like Armor Wars and the Thunderbolts. You know, like she says, she's going to have full access to military tech, government secrets, all that kind of jazz. So yeah, I think that's going to tie in with them. So at least we are getting some threads to follow coming out of this show. But again, are they going to tie in with the movies, or is it all Disney Plus contained? You're not winning subscription of everything. You know, you need people to be dipping into Disney Plus to follow the movies, not just, you know, follow the stuff on Disney Plus with the movies being separate. That's not going to win you subscription. So yeah, if you are still around, please smash the like button, subscribe to the channel, even hit the bell so you get notifications of when my videos come out. I'm usually a few days late. I'm never first to reveal on these things. So to get the notification, please hit the bell. So yeah, let me know in the comments down below, what did you think of the season 1 of Falcon and the Winter Soldier? Did it live up to the hype? Were you hoping for bigger reveals, bigger action? Personally, I was. But overall, I thought it was a pretty good show. A little bit too much social commentary maybe at the end there. Some proper cringe moments through the show. But yeah, you know, some good points. Let me know in the comments down below what you thought. Loki starts on June the 11th, so I will try and be doing episode breakdowns and coming up with theories for that show. So please, like I say, subscribe to the channel to catch all them. But until then, farewell.
Thank you.